Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of Country Icebergs. Today we will be going over the Greece Iceberg. Enjoy! The Acropolis. The Acropolis is an ancient citadel located on a rocky hill above Athens, Greece, and served as the religious and cultural heart of the city. It is home to several iconic structures, including the Parthenon, a temple dedicated to the goddess Athena. Built during the 5th century BCE under the leadership of Pericles, it symbolized the power and achievements of classical Athens. The Parthenon. The Parthenon is a temple on the Acropolis of Athens dedicated to Athena, the city's patron goddess. Built between 447 and 432 BCE, it is considered the finest example of Doric architecture and a masterpiece of ancient Greek design. The temple once housed a massive gold and ivory statue of Athena, created by the sculptor Phidias. Greek mythology. Greek mythology is a collection of ancient stories that explain the origins of the world, the lives of gods and heroes, and the nature of humanity. It features powerful gods like Zeus, Poseidon, and Athena, who ruled from Mount Olympus. These myths often explore themes of love, revenge, fate, and the relationship between mortals and the divine. The Olympic Games. The Olympic Games began in ancient Greece around 776 BCE in Olympia as a religious festival honoring the god Zeus. Athletes from across Greek city-states competed in events like running, wrestling, and chariot racing to showcase strength and skill. The games were held every 4 years and symbolized unity among the often warring Greek states. Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was the king of Macedonia who created one of the largest empires in history by conquering Greece, Egypt, Persia, and parts of India. Tutored by the philosopher Aristotle, he was known for his brilliant military strategies and ambition to spread Greek culture. His conquests helped blend Greek and Eastern cultures, a period known as the Hellenistic era. Ioannis Kapodistrias. Ioannis Kapodistrias was a Greek statesman and diplomat who became the first head of state of independent Greece. Before leading Greece, he served as a foreign minister for the Russian Empire, gaining experience in European diplomacy. Kapodistrias worked to establish a stable government, modernize the country, and strengthen education and infrastructure. Hellenic Revolution. The Hellenic Revolution, also known as the Greek War of Independence, was a successful struggle by Greeks to gain independence from the Ottoman Empire. It began with uprisings in the Peloponnese and other regions, inspired by a growing sense of Greek national identity and support from European Philhellenes. Key leaders included Theodoros Kolokotronis and Alexandros Ypsilantis, and the war involved both guerrilla warfare and major battles. March 25, 1821. March 25, 1821 is celebrated as the official start of the Greek War of Independence against the Ottoman Empire. On this day, Bishop Germanos of Patras is said to have raised the Greek flag at the monastery of Agia Lavra, calling for Greeks to revolt. It symbolizes the awakening of Greek national consciousness and the fight for freedom after centuries of Ottoman rule. The Greek Islands. The Greek islands are a group of over 6,000 islands and islets scattered across the Aegean and Ionian seas, though only about 200 are inhabited. They are famous for their stunning beaches, whitewashed buildings, blue-domed churches, and rich history dating back to ancient Greece. Popular islands include Crete, Santorini, Mykonos, and Rhodes, each with unique culture, cuisine, and archaeological sites. Eleftherios Venizelos. Eleftherios Venizelos was a prominent Greek statesman and reformer, often considered one of the most important figures in modern Greek history. He served multiple terms as prime minister and played a key role in expanding Greece's territory during the Balkan Wars and World War I. Venizelos introduced major political, economic, and social reforms, modernizing the Greek state and strengthening its international position. Greek Orthodox Church. The Greek Orthodox Church is the main Christian denomination in Greece, tracing its roots to the early Christian communities of the Eastern Roman Empire. It follows Eastern Orthodox traditions, emphasizing liturgy, sacraments, and the teachings of the Church Fathers. The Church has played a central role in Greek culture, education, and national identity, especially during Ottoman rule. The Trojan War. The Trojan Wars, a legendary conflict in Greek mythology between the Greeks and the city of Troy, famously described in Homer's Iliad. According to myth, the war began after Paris of Troy abducted Helen, the wife of the Greek king Menelaus. It lasted 10 years and featured legendary heroes like Achilles, Hector, and Odysseus, with gods often intervening in the battles. Battle of Marathon. The Battle of Marathon took place in 490 BCE during the First Persian invasion of Greece. A vastly outnumbered Athenian army defeated the Persian forces on the plains of Marathon, demonstrating the effectiveness of Greek hoplite warfare. The victory boosted Greek confidence and helped preserve their independence from Persian rule. Delphic Oracle. The Delphic Oracle was a priestess at the Temple of Apollo in Delphi, ancient Greece, believed to deliver prophecies inspired by the god Apollo. People from all over the Greek world consulted her on important matters like politics, war, and personal decisions. Her messages were often cryptic and poetic, requiring interpretation by priests. Emia. Emia is a small, uninhabited islet in the Aegean Sea, located between Greece and Turkey. In 1996, it became the center of a tense territorial dispute between the two countries, known as the Emia/Kardak crisis. The conflict brought Greece and Turkey to the brink of military confrontation, but was eventually diffused through diplomatic intervention. Georgios Papadopoulos. Georgios Papadopoulos was a Greek military officer who led the 1967 coup d'état and became the head of the Greek military junta, ruling as a dictator until 1973. His regime, known as the regime of the colonels, suppressed political freedoms, censored the press, and imprisoned or exiled opponents. Papadopoulos attempted to legitimize his rule with limited constitutional changes, but faced widespread domestic and international opposition. National anthem origin. The national anthem of Greece, known as the Hymn to Liber, was written by poet Dionysios Solomos in 1823 during the Greek War of Independence. Its 158 stanzas celebrate the struggle of Greeks to gain freedom from Ottoman rule. The music was composed by Nikolaos Mantzaros and later adopted officially as the national anthem in 1865. The Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire, also called the Eastern Roman Empire, was the continuation of the Roman Empire in its eastern provinces after the fall of Rome in 476 CE. Its capital was Constantinople, which became a center of art, culture, and trade. The empire is known for preserving Roman law, spreading Orthodox Christianity, and creating iconic architecture like the Hagia Sophia. Minoan civilization. The Minoan civilization was an early Bronze Age culture on the island of Crete, known for its advanced architecture, art, and trade networks. They built elaborate palaces, such as Knossos, decorated with vibrant frescoes depicting nature, religious rituals, and sports like bull leaping. The Minoans had a written script called Linear A, which remains largely undeciphered, and their society was likely centered around religion and maritime commerce. Spartan warriors. The Spartan warriors were the elite soldiers of ancient Sparta, a city-state in southern Greece known for its military society. From a young age, boys entered the rigorous agoge training system, learning combat, discipline, and survival skills. Spartans were famed for their bravery, discipline, and effectiveness in battle, especially as hoplites in phalanx formations. The Peloponnesian War. The Peloponnesian War was a major conflict between Athens and its allies versus Sparta and the Peloponnesian League. It was fueled by rivalry over power, trade, and influence in the Greek world. The war included land battles, naval clashes, and devastating plagues, weakening many Greek city-states. Ultimately, Sparta defeated Athens, ending its golden age and reshaping the balance of power in ancient Greece. The Theater of Epidaurus. The Theater of Epidaurus is an ancient Greek open-air theater located in the sanctuary of Asclepius in Epidaurus, built in the 4th century BCE. It is renowned for its exceptional acoustics and symmetrical design, allowing even whispers on stage to be heard clearly in the back rows. The theater could hold around 14,000 spectators and was used for dramatic performances and religious festivals. Unfortunately, we went bankrupt. Greece faced a severe financial crisis starting around 2009, caused by high public debt, large budget deficits, and structural economic weaknesses. The country struggled to repay its debts, leading to austerity measures, bailouts from the European Union and International Monetary Fund, and widespread economic hardship for citizens. The crisis caused unemployment, poverty, and social unrest, but reforms and international support have gradually helped Greece stabilize its economy. Decemvriana. The Decemvriana were a series of violent clashes in Athens in December 1944 during the Greek Civil War. They occurred between the communist-led EAMELAS resistance forces and the British-backed Greek government forces after the liberation of Greece from Nazi occupation. The fighting caused hundreds of deaths, widespread destruction, and deepened political divisions in the country. The Eleusinian Mysteries. The Eleusinian Mysteries were secret religious ceremonies held in ancient Greece in honor of Demeter and Persephone, the goddesses of agriculture and the underworld. They took place annually in the city of Eleusis and symbolized the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Only initiated participants knew the sacred rituals, which promised spiritual renewal and hope for life after death. The Greek War of Independence. The Greek War of Independence was a successful revolution by the Greek people to free themselves from nearly 4 centuries of Ottoman rule. Inspired by Enlightenment ideals and supported by Philhellenes across Europe, Greeks rose up in battles throughout the Peloponnese, central Greece, and the islands. Key figures like Theodoros Kolokotronis, Laskarina Bouboulina, and Alexandros Ypsilantis became national heroes. The Olympia Zeus. The Temple of Olympian Zeus, also known as the Olympion, is a monumental temple in Athens dedicated to the king of the Greek gods, Zeus. Construction began in the 6th century BCE, but was not completed until the 2nd century CE under the Roman Emperor Hadrian. It was one of the largest temples in ancient Greece, featuring massive Corinthian columns, of which only a few remain standing today. Oracle of Dodona. The Oracle of Dodona. The Oracle of Dodona was an ancient Greek sacred site in Epirus, dedicated to Zeus, where priests and priestesses delivered prophecies. Unlike the Delphic oracle, Dodona's messages were often interpreted from the rustling of oak tree leaves or the sounds of bronze vessels. It was one of the oldest oracles in Greece, dating back to the 2nd millennium BCE. The Byzantine monuments of Thessaloniki. The Byzantine monuments of Thessaloniki are a group of early Christian and Byzantine-era buildings in Greece's 2nd largest city, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They include churches, chapels, and city walls built between the 4th and 14th centuries, such as Hagios Demetrios, Hagia Sophia, and the Rotunda. These monuments showcase distinctive Byzantine architecture, mosaics, and frescoes, reflecting the city's religious, cultural, and political significance. Withdrawal from NATO. During the 1974 Cyprus crisis, Greece suspended its participation in NATO's military command structure in protest against Turkey's actions. Greece fully rejoined NATO's military structure in 1980, but periodic political disputes with Turkey or other NATO members have sometimes caused friction. The Siege of Constantinople. The Siege of Constantinople in 1453 was the final attack that led to the fall of the Byzantine Empire. Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II used massive cannons, advanced military tactics, and a large army to breach the city's formidable walls. The capture of Constantinople marked the end of the Byzantine Empire, shifted trade routes, and established Constantinople as the new Ottoman capital. The Battle of Issus. The Battle of Issus took place in 333 BCE between the forces of Alexander the Great of Macedonia and King Darius III of Persia. It occurred near the town of Issus in modern-day southern Turkey and was a decisive victory for Alexander, despite being heavily outnumbered. This battle showcased Alexander's superior tactics, including the effective use of the phalanx and cavalry. The Roman Agora. The Roman Agora of Athens is an ancient marketplace built in the 1st century BCE during Roman rule, located northeast of the Acropolis. It served as a commercial and social hub, featuring shops, stoas, and public spaces for trade and gatherings. Key structures include the Gate of Athena Archegetus and the Tower of the Winds, an ancient timekeeping and meteorological structure. Ancient Theater of Dodona. The Ancient Theater of Dodona is one of Greece's oldest theaters, located in the sanctuary of Zeus at Dodona in Epirus. Built in the 3rd century BCE and expanded during Roman times, It could seat around 18,000 spectators. The theater hosted religious ceremonies, performances, and festivals connected to the Oracle of Zeus at Dodona. The Monastery of Hosios Loukas. The Monastery of Hosios Loukas is a historic Byzantine monastery in central Greece, near the town of Distomo, built in the 10th century. It is renowned for its stunning mosaics, frescoes, and well-preserved architecture, which exemplify Middle Byzantine art. The monastery was dedicated to Saint Luke, a revered hermit and healer whose relics are kept there. Konstantinos Koukidis. Konstantinos Koukidis was a Greek soldier or civilian, famed in legend for his act of patriotism during the German occupation of Athens in April 1941. According to the story, when German forces demanded the Greek flag be taken down from the Acropolis, Koukidis reportedly wrapped himself in the flag and leapt to his death rather than allow it to be lowered. George I assassination. King George I of Greece was assassinated on March 18, 1913, in the city of Thessaloniki. He was shot by Alexandros Shinas, a Greek anarchist whose motives remain unclear, though some suggest political or personal reasons. George I had reigned for over 50 years, overseeing significant modernization and territorial expansion for Greece. The Battle of Cynocephalae. The Battle of Cynocephalae took place in 197 BCE between the Roman Republic and the Macedonian Kingdom led by King Philip V. Fought in the hills of Thessaly, Greece, it was a decisive Roman victory that demonstrated the flexibility of the Roman legion over the traditional Macedonian phalanx. The battle effectively ended Macedonian dominance in Greece and marked the rise of Roman influence in the region. The Castle of Monemvasia. The Castle of Monemvasia is a medieval fortress town located on a small island off the southeastern coast of the Peloponnese in Greece. Founded in the 6th century by Byzantine settlers, it was built on a steep rock, with narrow streets and fortified walls, making it highly defensible. Monemvasia became a major trade and maritime center during the Byzantine and Venetian periods. The Battle of Pydna. The Battle of Pydna took place in 168 BCE between the Roman Republic and the Macedonian Kingdom under King Perseus. Fought near the city of Pydna in northern Greece, it resulted in a decisive Roman victory that ended the Third Macedonian War. The battle demonstrated the superiority of the Roman legion over the Macedonian phalanx in uneven terrain. The archaeological site of Philippi. The archaeological site of Philippi is an ancient city in northeastern Greece, founded by King Philip II of Macedon in 356 BCE. It became famous as a Roman colony and for the Battle of Philippi in 42 BCE, where Mark Antony and Octavian defeated the forces of Julius Caesar's assassins. The site includes a theater, forum, basilicas, and early Christian churches, reflecting its importance in both classical and Roman times. Byzantine Walls of Thessaloniki. The Byzantine Walls of Thessaloniki are a series of defensive fortifications built between the 4th and 15th centuries to protect the city, Greece's second largest, from invasions. Stretching around the historic center, the walls include towers, gates, and bastions, showcasing Byzantine military architecture. They were reinforced and modified over centuries, particularly during the reign of Emperor Theodosius II and later during the Ottoman period. The Cypriot Crisis. The Cypriot crisis usually refers to the events surrounding the conflict in Cyprus during the 1960s and 1970s, culminating in the Turkish invasion of 1974. Tensions arose between the island's Greek Cypriot majority, who largely favored union with Greece, and the Turkish Cypriot minority, who resisted it. In 1974, a Greek-backed coup attempted to unite Cyprus with Greece, prompting Turkey to intervene militarily, occupying the northern third of the island. The Palace of the Grand Master of the Knights of Rhodes. The Palace of the Grand Master of the Knights of Rhodes is a medieval fortress located in the city of Rhodes, on the Greek island of the same name. Originally built in the 7th century as a Byzantine fort, it was rebuilt and expanded by the Knights Hospitaller in the 14th century to serve as their administrative center and residence. The palace features massive walls, towers, and Gothic architecture, reflecting both military and residential purposes. The Castle of Chios. The Castle of Chios, also known as the Chios Castle or Castro, is a medieval fortress located in Chios town on the Greek island of Chios. It was originally built by the Byzantines in the 10th century and later reinforced by the Genoese during their rule in the 14th and 15th centuries. The castle features massive walls, towers, and narrow streets, forming a fortified settlement that protected the island from pirates and invaders. Battle of Navarino. The Battle of Navarino took place on October 20, 1827, during the Greek War of Independence. A combined fleet of British, French, and Russian ships defeated the Ottoman Egyptian navy in Navarino Bay, on the west coast of the Peloponnese. This decisive naval victory severely weakened Ottoman control and helped secure Greek independence. Archaeological site of Heraion. The archaeological site of Heraion is an ancient sanctuary dedicated to the goddess Hera, located near the city of Argos in the Peloponnese, Greece. It was one of the major religious centers of the region, with temples built from the 8th century BCE onward, including large Doric temples. The site includes altars, statues, and other remains that reflect the religious practices and architectural styles of ancient Greece. Zappeion Exhibition Hall. The Zappeion Exhibition Hall is a neoclassical building located in the National Garden of Athens, Greece, near the Panathenaic Stadium. Completed in 1888, it was funded by Evangelos Zappas and his cousin Konstantinos Zappas to serve as a venue for exhibitions, cultural events, and later for the Olympic Games. The hall features elegant architecture with columns, spacious halls, and decorative sculptures, reflecting 19th century Greek revival style. Alexander I. King Alexander I of Greece was the third son of King Constantine I and became king in 1917 during World War I. His reign was largely symbolic, as real power was held by the Prime Minister Eleftherios Venizelos, but he supported Greece's territorial ambitions in Asia Minor. Alexander is remembered for a famous incident involving a pet monkey bite, which led to a fatal infection and his untimely death at the age of 27. His death plunged Greece into political instability, affecting the monarchy and the country's post-war future. And that was the end of the Greece Iceberg. Thanks for watching, and bye.